When you think of Southwestern Indiana, you're probably picturing friendly neighbors, Friday night football, life along the Ohio River. But if you've lived here long enough, you know that this area has some unique stories, the kind that make you kind of want to lock your doors a little tighter or keep your porch light on at night. Hey everyone, my name is Kendra and welcome to our YouTube channel where we cover all things living in Southwestern Indiana. Around here, we don't just help people find homes, we help them discover what makes Southwestern Indiana unique. And today we are diving into something a little bit different. The strange, the spooky, the mysterious stories hidden right here in our own backyard. Up first is the Gray Lady of Willard Library. Our first stop on this strange tour through Southwestern Indiana takes us right into the heart of Evansville, one of the oldest and most haunted libraries in the entire Midwest, the Willard Library. It's tucked near the corner of the Lloyd Expressway and First Avenue and just a short distance from the downtown Evansville area and the riverfront. And if you're local, you know it's only a few blocks away from Berry Global. Yes, that's right in the middle of the everyday hustle sits one of the eeriest buildings in town. So this building was built in 1881. Willard Library is more than just a beautiful old structure. It's a cornerstone of Evansville's history filled with knowledge, character, and according to generations of locals, something else. So, for nearly a century, stories have circulated about a ghostly woman known as the Gray Lady. She's been spotted gliding down hallways, standing at the top of staircases, and even appearing in mirrors on security cameras. And yes, she has her own set of live ghost cams where you can watch online 24/7 because apparently even ghosts have fans. The first recorded sighting dates all the way back to 1937 when a janitor who was working late reported seeing a woman in a gray Victorian-style dress near the basement. Since then, dozens of visitors and staff members have described strange encounters, the scent of a floral perfume drifting through an empty room, and books tumbling off of shelves, or sudden cold spots that seem to follow you down a hallway. Some believe that she's the spirit of Louise Carpenter, daughter of the library's founder, Will Carpenter, who was said to be upset over her father's estate that was handled after his death. Others think that she's simply a loyal guardian of the library, making sure everyone returns their books on time. Over years, paranormal investigators from all over the country have visited with cameras, recorders, and EMF devices. A few claim they've captured her whispering. Others swear they've seen her reflection in the glass door when no one else was inside. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, the Gray Lady has become a part of Evansville's identity. She's been featured in local documentaries, ghost tours, and Halloween specials. And around here, she's kind of like a local celebrity. So if you find yourself walking through Willard Library after dark, right there off the Lloyd, make sure to keep an eye on those mirrors because you never know who may be looking back. Okay, so up next is Haunted Harmony, and if you head about 25 miles west of Evansville, you're going to find yourself in one of Indiana's most peaceful towns, New Harmony, Indiana. So don't let the quiet streets and the charming brick buildings fool you, because beneath that small town beauty, there is a whole lot of mystery in this town. So New Harmony has always been a little bit different, and it was actually founded in the 1800s by a group called the Harmonists. It was a religious community that believed that hard work, music, and living life free from worldly distractions. They built an incredibly organized settlement along the Wabash River. They had mills, workshops, and gardens. But about after 10 years, the Harmonists actually sold the town to an industrialist and reformer named Robert Owen, who turned it into something entirely new. It was actually a social experiment focused on science, education, and equality. That deep spiritual and intellectual energy never really left, and maybe that's why so many people say that there's just something otherworldly about New Harmony, Indiana. So today it's known for its history, its arts, and especially in the fall, it's known for its ghost stories. The town actually hosts something called Haunted New Harmony, and it's a guided tour, walking tour that takes visitors to some of the most mysterious spots in the town of New Harmony. So locals say that if you walk those brick streets after dark, you can feel the air change in this area. It gets colder, heavier, and strangely still. There are so many stories of glowing figures spotted near the river, mysterious footsteps echoing along the sidewalks, and even voices that have come from buildings or have been locked for decades. So it's definitely one of the most talked about places in in the old community is the house on Main Street, where guests have actually claimed to hear children laughing upstairs when no one else is there. Others have seen flickering lights in the windows long after the doors are closed. Even people who don't believe in ghosts admitted that New Harmony just feels different. There's definitely an energy here in New Harmony, a mix of history, beauty, and just something really unexplainable. You can stand in the middle of town on a calm night and hear the wind off the Wabash and the creak of the buildings settling, and for a moment it just feels like time stops in this town. Whether it's the spirits of the harmonists still searching for perfection, or the echoes of people who have helped shape one of Indiana's most unique communities, there is no denying that New Harmony holds a certain type of magic, and it's one of those places where history just doesn't live, it lingers. So next up on my list is the Wright's home in the historic haunts of Evansville, and if you've ever driven down First Street in downtown Evansville, you've probably noticed that there is a stunning old mansion that looks like it belongs in another century, and that is actually the Wright's Home Museum. And while one of its most beautiful pieces of architecture is in the city, it's also one of the most mysterious places. So the Wright's home was actually built in 1871 for John Augustus Wright, a lumber baron who made his fortune during Evansville's booming river trade days. So every inch of this house is pure Victorian elegance. Stained glass, carved woodwork, grand chandeliers, but behind all of that beauty, there are whispers of something else. Over the years, staff members, tour guides, and visitors have all reported strange happenings here. People say that they've heard footsteps upstairs when the building was empty, or music playing faintly from the grand piano when no one was ever near it. Some have even said that they have felt a sudden chill walking down through the hallway as if someone had brushed past them. One longtime volunteer shared that she had once heard a man's voice humming in the music room, and when she turned around, there was absolutely nobody there. Another person said they heard a faint light flicker in the parlor window after closing time. It was something like it lit a candle just to be seen. But the Wright's home isn't just the only historic spot in Evansville with a few ghost stories. Just a few blocks away, the old Vanderburgh County Courthouse is said to have its own hauntings. Built in the 1890s, it's one of the city's most iconic buildings, and also one with a lot of stories involved. Some late-night workers have reported seeing figures in the upper windows after hours or hearing doors close on their own. Then there's also the old Willard Hotel downtown, where guests claimed to see shadowy figures in the halls, and the Bannicamp Hospital on the west side, which dates back to the World War I and still gives people the creeps if they pass it after dark. And even the Evansville Coliseum has reports of flickering lights and echoing voices during off hours. Whether you believe in the paranormal or not, these stories connect us to Evansville's past in a super fascinating way. Every creak of the floorboards and every flicker of light reminds you that this city has lived a lot of life around here. And maybe some are just still lingering. So Evansville's historic homes and landmarks don't just hold architecture and antiques. They hold a lot of memories. So if you listen closely, you might just hear them whispering back. Okay, so up next, we're going to change gears a little bit and talk about the Vicky and Casey White case. So not every strange story in Evansville, Indiana comes from ghostly legends or haunted houses, and some of the eeriest moments in our region's history come straight from real life. The kind of story that gripped the nation and ended right here in Evansville, Indiana. So in April of 2022, news broke that a correction officer from Alabama had actually vanished alongside an inmate that she was supposed to be transporting. Her name was actually Vicky White, which was no relation to the prisoner that she had with her, Casey White. The story that unfolded over the next 11 days became one of the biggest manhunts in America. Vicky was actually a respected officer with nearly 2 decades on her job. She has a spotless record, a calm personality, and just a reputation of professionalism. But on a seemingly normal morning, she checked Casey White out of jail under the excuse of mental health evaluation. And they never made it to the courthouse. Instead, she had sold her home, cashed in her retirement, and had vanished with him. So, as days passed, the story captured national attention and no one could understand it. Why would a trusted officer risk absolutely everything for a convicted felon? And where could they have possibly went without being recognized? And then on May 9th, everything came to an end right here in Evansville, Indiana. After nearly 2 weeks on the run, a car matching the description was spotted outside a local motel, not far from Highway 41, and when law enforcement surrounded the vehicle, a high-speed chase broke out through the north side of town. The pursuit ended in a crash, and Casey was taken into custody, but Vicky tragically took her own life before she could be arrested. It was super shocking and heartbreaking into the story that seemed to be all so much unreal. For weeks afterwards, the Evansville area was swarming with reporters and news crews, and our quiet community suddenly became the backdrop for a nationwide manhunt, and the world was watching. In the months since, documentaries and even a Netflix special has revisited the case, trying to piece together what led to the moment and why they chose Evansville, Indiana as their hiding spot. Some say it was random, and others believe that they were drawn here by the city's network of older hotels and the type of secrecy that it would take to check into a hotel without being caught. No matter what the reason, it was a chilling reminder that sometimes the most unsettling stories aren't necessarily supernatural, and sometimes they're human, and they unfold in the very places we drive past every single day. So now let's talk about some local legends and unsolved mysteries. And of course, not every strange story in Southwestern Indiana makes the national headlines. Some never leave the county lines, and whispered from one generation to the next, some of these stories just become part of our history and the town's character. All across Posey and Vanderburgh counties, there are stories that don't show up in history books, the kind that live on through late night conversations, by campfires, or maybe a few Facebook community groups. One of the most famous local legends comes right here in Posey County. People have long talked about the light at the old courthouse in Mount Vernon. So the legend is that it's flickering right before a verdict is announced, even when no one is inside the courtroom. Some call it a superstition, while others call it a sign. And who knows if it's really true, but it sure makes for a good story. There's also a legend about a rural stretch of road outside Mars Township, where locals say that you can sometimes hear the faint sound of a train that hasn't ran in nearly 100 years. The story goes that there was a derailment years ago, and at quiet night you can still hear the whistle echoing through the fields. And whether it's real or not, everyone in town seems to have a version of their own story about this. And then there are the hidden cemeteries, small family plots tucked deep into the woods or behind old farm fences. Hikers sometimes stumble against them on accident. They'll find tilted headstones covered in moss, some dating back to the 1800s. Most are peaceful reminders of the area's early settlers, but a few seem to have a heavier energy, especially as dust settles in. So maybe it's imagination, or maybe it's something else. But even Evansville has its share of urban legends. Some people have claimed to have seen strange shapes moving right along the Ohio River at night. And what a few call jokingly the Evansville's river monster, it's probably just a fish, or maybe something a little bit bigger. But either way, I'm not volunteering to find out. So, there's something to say about this region. The mix of history, farmland, river fog, and quiet nights that makes it easy to believe the line between past and present might be a little thinner here. Whether these stories are true or just tall tales, they're part of what makes living here so fun. So next, fall fun with a spooky twist. And after all these ghost stories and local legends, it's nice to remember that not everything spooky in Southwestern Indiana is meant to scare you. Some of it is just plain fun, and fall around here might be the best season to experience it after all. From the end of September through Halloween, our area comes alive with events that blend a little bit of fright with a little bit of fun. Haunted houses and haunted trails are scattered throughout Southwestern Indiana, each one offering its own mix of jump scares, creepy soundtracks, and some nervous laughter from people who swore they wouldn't scream this year. If haunted attractions aren't your thing, fall is also about crisp evenings, bonfires, pumpkin spice, and everything. So families head to local farms for hay rides, corn mazes, and the smell of kettle corn drifting through the air. A little further west, small town festivals fill the weekends with food trucks, live music, and community pride. And then there are the pumpkin patches. Rows of bright orange pumpkins that are spread across open fields with kids running around like crazy with sticky caramel apple hands, and parents loading wagons and snapping photos under the setting sun. It's the perfect mix of just feeling so fallish and small town that makes Evansville, Indiana so special. So even the downtown areas across the region join in, hosting trick-or-treat walks, fall markets, and outdoor movie nights under the lights. So whether you're braving a haunted maze or just scrolling through a local festival, there is something about this season that brings everyone together. So yes, we've got our share of ghost stories and local mysteries, but we've also got hayrides, chili cook-offs, and communities that know how to celebrate the season. Around here, we like our scares balanced with a little bit of cider and a whole lot of heart. So whether it's ghost stories passed down through generations, strange happenings that make national news, or the magic of small town fall traditions, Southwestern Indiana has a way of keeping life interesting. Our communities are full of history, mystery, and heart, and that's just what makes this region feel like home. From the fog rolling over the Ohio River in the early morning to the laughter at local festivals on cool autumn nights, there's a sense of connection here that you just don't find everywhere. The stories might just be spooky, but the spirit of this place is anything but. So I'm Kendra with the Angel Team, and we love sharing all the things that make this corner of Indiana so special. From its beautiful homes and welcoming neighborhoods to its deep roots and the unforgettable stories. If you've been thinking about making a move to the Evansville, Indiana area, make sure to reach out to us, and we'd be happy to set a search up for you that matches what you're looking for in our area. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of our future content on all things living in Southwestern Indiana. Make sure to have a fun, safe, and slightly spooky fall this season. See you later.